Sir,
Hmm.
you may
Good afternoon, everybody, to this 43rd Literary Satsang, where actually the topic is feminism. So let us say something. The feminist movement refers to a series of socio-political and cultural movements for the reforms on women's issues. The wave formally began for the first time at the Seneca Falls Convention in 1848, where 300 men and women rallied to the cause of equality for women. This movement is divided broadly into three waves: first wave, second wave, and third wave feminism. To this added the fourth wave feminism, which examines the interlocking system of power that contribute to the social stratification of traditionally marginalized groups as well as the world around them. As women's movement continued further, it was found that all the women of a country, and for that matter, the women of other countries too, cannot be brought under the same fold, as the human world is divided into class, caste, color, rich or poor, working or housewife, celebrities, etc. So feminist movement faces a variety of challenges, which I hope will be reflected in the talks of the speakers as well as that of the chairpersons. Throughout the Sundays of this month, and also on the first Sunday of August, there will be talks by some young eminent feminists of the country. Interestingly, the chairpersons too are eminent feminists. Except one, all the chairpersons are close to their 50s or 60s, or might have crossed that age, while the resource persons are in their 40s. The gap of time, say 10 to 20 years or so, makes a difference in approaching the concept of feminism. So we have the opportunity of listening to two groups of feminists. Among the chairpersons is a male member, which will ultimately help the listeners to form multiple views of feminism today in India. I hope the listeners throughout the country will enjoy these talks very much. So with these expectations, I hand over the platform to today's Master of Ceremonies, Mr. Nurul Huda. Nurul Huda is a research scholar in English from Pandit Ravishankar Shukla University, Raipur. He did his graduation with honors in English from Kalani University and then moved to Guru Kashidas Vishwavidyalaya, Bilaspur for masters. He also did his B.Ed from Bilaspur Vishwavidyalaya, Bilaspur. He has a teaching experience of more than 3 years as guest lecturers in different government colleges in Chhattisgarh. He has presented research papers in national seminars and participated in national and international seminars and webinars. He has been coordinating the PG lecture series for iSPELL Chhattisgarh Forum. He has done many online professional courses. So over to Nurul. Nurul?
Hello, yes, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. Okay. Thank you very much, sir. A very good afternoon and respectful welcome to one and all present here to this 42nd Sunday Sahitya Satsang powered by Indian Society for the Promotion of English Language and Literature, iSPELL, India. At the very outset, I would like to extend my gratitude to the founder and general secretary of iSPELL, Dr. G. A. Ghaneshyam sir, Dr. Jyoti Patil ma'am, president of iSPELL, event coordinator of this month and vice president of iSPELL, Dr. Prasan Chakravarti sir, and all other respected chairs for this opportunity to become a part of this pan-academic and august gathering of learned people of literature. Facilitate to elevate is the motto of Indian Society for the Promotion of English Language and Literature. To fulfill the purpose, the society has been working since its creation during the spread of this pandemic. Being the Master of Ceremonies, I am very excited and delighted to introduce you our today's topic, exploring life narrative of Indian women as a vaccine of vigor and motivation. Life narrative of any woman in the development of human history has a crucial role in the enlightenment of patriarchal society and any other social milieu. And to explore many aspects about Indian women's life narrative, I enthusiastically welcome our chief speaker of today's session, esteemed Dr. Salini Yadav ma'am. Dr. Salini Yadav is a professor at Compucom Institute of Technology and Management, Jaipur, India. She holds a PhD in post-colonial literature from University of Rajasthan, India. She has a progressive teaching experience of 14 years in India, Libya, and Saudi Arabia. She has participated and presented papers in many conferences. She has authored and edited various books, including On the Wings of Life, Women Writing Womanhood in 2021 recently, Post-Colonial Transition and Cultural Dialects 2012, Communication Techniques 2010, and a textbook of English for foreigners, for engineers 2008. Her creative writings publication include 3 poetry books in English titled Floating Haiku 2015, Kinship with You, a collection of poems 2014, Till the End of Her Subsistence, an anthology of poems 2013, and one in Hindi entitled Chitiz Ke Us Par 2016. Many of her short stories and poems are published in numerous journals and anthologies. Presently, she is a reviewer of the editorial board of various qualitative journals named the IAFOR, Journal of Literature and uh, Librarianship, International Journal of Languages and Culture, South Africa, International Journal of English Language Education, USA, English Language and Literature Studies, Canadian Center of Science and Education, Canada International Journal of Applied Linguistics and AMP, English Literature, etc. So now I cordially welcome ma'am and enlighten us with your valuable thoughts and experience and expertise. Over to you, ma'am, please.
Thanks, Norol. A very good evening, all esteemed dignitaries, august academicians, and vibrant young scholars present here. I feel privileged to have this opportunity to be here on this platform of 42nd Sahityak Satsang organized by iSPELL with the motto Facilitate to Elevate, promoting English language and literature nationwide, bringing together all literary fraternity. I especially exhibit gratitude towards Dr. G.A. Ghanshyam sir, Dr. Prashanta Chakravarti sir for bestowing upon me this fortune. Without much delay, I would like to start my presentation. Shall I share the screen now?
Yes, madam.
Yes, ma'am, please go ahead, please.
My today's topic is exploring life narratives of Indian women as a vaccine of vigor and motivation. I chose this topic thinking about the situation we all were in, or we are still in from last March 2020. As of now, everybody knows and everybody has gone through this period of pandemic, and we all know that storm of cosmic forces like it is Taute or COVID or different kind of viruses, white or black fungus or everything, that all has got the humanity in its tight grasp, keeping everybody locked inside the homes. Like if we recall that this used to be with Indian women who used to live in four-wall peripheries in our patriarchal Indian society, and the practice is still prevailing in the society, but we all had to suffer. Even you are a young person, you are a child, you are an elderly person, everybody, men or women, no gender difference, no age difference, no economic status difference, everybody was inside the home. So this lockdown situation was new for everybody, and this situation created some kind of problems or health issues like mental health issues or physical health issues, both kind of health issues. So what is the key to keep yourself free from these kind of issues or problems or shackles or obstacles which came in your way? So how to keep yourself free? So I suggest that there should be some constructive habits inside you, that everybody has different kind of habits. Like we are literarians, so we have habit of reading and writing, but it can be cooking, singing, dancing, or doing yoga, or any other, or going for outside sports or inside indoor games, anything. So here I have focused on reading. Basically, reading of life narrative I have chosen here, that if you read life narratives of some good people, so you might feel better. So what are the benefits of reading of life narratives? It liberates one from anxiety, or your daily routine fatigue, or slumber, whatever you face in your life. It is an act of hedonism and rejuvenation. It rejuvenates you. It gives you pleasure when you read people's lives, about people's lives. It provokes thoughts with a refreshing clarity and desired potentiality. Are you able to hear me? Is it audible, sir?
Yes, audible.
Okay, thank you. It evaporates a human's psyches inside gray clouds. We all go through depression or anger or frustration or sometimes hopelessness in our life. It is not like that every time we are happy or every time we are sad. These are part of life. Everybody has to face. So when you read somebody's life narrative which really inspires you, these gray clouds, they disappear from your mind. It keeps you mentally stable in whenever you are in some kind of a dilemma or in confusion state. It engrosses in the activity of self-healing. You go in self-healing mode when you read some good book. It steers the self for good deeds, good actions. Might be you help yourself, then you start helping others also. First, at initial stage, your family members, then society, then nature. So we can say that this assists in exploring your inner self, plus it tries to establish harmony at various levels, like level of individual level, and then family level, then society level, then nature level. Or it tries to make a balance between all four orders of nature. So reading in a way, it is very good for health, mental or physical both. When we talk about life narratives, so reading of life narratives or exploring life narratives is a personal rescue art. This is from St. Augustine's writings, and this page is, and it is a personal rescue art. And basically, when you are alone, that time you read books. When you are in a group or in a team, so therefore you have many other activities to do. So we can say that this is a solitary or a deeply personal job or a vacation to do. It is not a team sport which you play with all others in a group. Life narratives has been evident from last 2000 years, and the first one which we know about, that is St. Augustine's autobiography, which is the example taken from late 4th century AD. And this Augustine's confession provides significant insight into his first 33 years of his life. He says in the chapters of this autobiography that he was not completely a saint from his childhood. He also did many things, like he was indulged in adultery or in stealing, or he used to speak lie, or he went for stealing tears when he was a young boy. So it means that he was also kind of sinner. He was not a saint from his birth, but later on he converted himself. So that the personal road of conversion from sinner to saint, so that reader identifies when the reader goes through the autobiography of the person. So reader identifies, and reader also tries to implement some good things of the person's life inside himself or herself. Same, Marjorie Kemp was an early 15th century English woman, and it is believed that this was the first autobiography, the book of Marjorie Kemp, which was written in English language. Marjorie Kemp was the lady from 15th century, and she dictated this book to this. She got it scribed. She could not write, she could not read, so she just dictated it, and another person wrote the autobiography for her. She had many children. The first child, when she gave birth to him, she falls sick, and she had bouts of depression, and in that depressive condition she was inclined towards spirituality. And while she was inclined towards spirituality, she felt that these are my feelings and I need to reveal them in front of others. So in that case, in at that period, she thought about writing, and she went for one scribe to write about it. So in a way, this is how life narrative was created at initial stage. Life narrative is a form of identity, basically. One person creates his or her identity, and that identity is exhibited in front of others, which binds together heterogeneous life events. One person's life events are combined together, assembled together to define the self and to establish self continuity. The person's life is full life is continued in that life narrative, and the purpose of life is also mentioned. So this definition was given by Erikson and MacAdam. Erikson described the life story as the modern form of identity which first develops in adolescence. Adolescence, we start developing our own stories. We start creating stories. Our stories are created when we are young. We start going towards adolescence or teenage. Then MacAdam defined identity as an internalized and evolving story of self, which is created by individuals, and it was shaped by the culture they are embedded in. Life narrative is a non-canonic set of ever-shifting self-referential practices that so whatever you have done in past, that is reflected in your present. This is said by Smith and Watson in their book Reading Autobiographies. So basically the life story is mostly completely manifested in entire life narratives. Life narrative is a bigger term, and life stories, there are many life stories in one life narrative of one person. At any point of time, an individual has one life story but may produce somewhat differing life narrative text depending on the communicative situation and the situation in which the person is. Life narratives allow access to individuals' life stories, that whatever you have gone through, whatever kind of struggle or might be situations or happiness you have felt in your life or struggle you went through, so that all there are different stories of one person in one life. So those all are together put together in one life narrative. Life narratives differ from a mere collection of event-specific stories because they communicate individuals' personal development, and they communicate and they reflect about their identities also. The more life narrative are globally coherent, the better they integrate specific events and aspects of the self with each other. Life narratives basically reflect personal continuity, that and how personal continuity, because a person keeps on changing. The person I was in my childhood, I was not in my adulthood, and now I'm a different person, not completely the same. So a person's identity or persona is changed year by year. So we can say that we believe that the person has created many stories in one life, and the ideal form of identity of that person is explored or interpreted in that life narrative of him or her. 52 genres including autobiography, biography, memoirs, self-portraits, diaries, journals, letters, slave narratives, survivor narratives, testimonies, personal essays, trauma narratives, travel narratives. These are all included in these 52. But these are the famous one which we talk about in terms of life narrative, because life narrative or life writing is a broader term, an umbrella term which includes many um, shorter, smaller terms inside it. A person can write autobiography also, person can write letters also, and interviews also, person can give details about his or her life. So when we talk about life narrative, creating a life narrative is deeply ecological phenomena. Why it is it an ecological phenomena? Because we are not just one human being. We are connected with many other things. We are connected with our own past life. We are connected with the remaining world also. And the our existence is very important, and it gives and whatever how we take our existence, that gives the meaning to, or that creates that gives meaning to whole world also, and that creates harmony also at all levels. So it means that we need to first take care of ourselves, and we need to know the meaning of our life. Then we can talk about others, and we can share our life stories with others. It involves circumstances of our lives, people whom we are in contact with, or relationship with whom we have. It involves selecting important moments of your life, situations or circumstances, or people whom you are connected with, relationship in our lives, making stories about these things, that connecting and weaving the stories into a narrative to create the meaning that is our life. So whatever our life is, that we talk about, and all the incidents of our life, the people whom we met, the relationships we make, we talk about these all things in our narratives. There are good and bad experiences we share in our life narratives, lots of loose ends or good points also, lost opportunities, or whatever success we have got, or whatever unfulfilled ambitions we had. So these all things are talked about in a narrative. But in specific, we can say that a narrative is a kind of strategy or heuristic to help us make sense and value one's life, that what your real life is, your life journey. We try to value one person's life journey through that. A life story captures appreciation of one's own existence in the great story of humanity. So we try to assist in the building the great story of humanity in a way. Is it audible, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Audible.
Okay. So slowly, gradually,
Now breaking.
In 18th
Now it's
century,
breaking, ma'am.
after 15th century, in 18th century writings and life narrate, literacy rate was high, so that's why and global trade was also gaining point. And so in that case, we can say that that time people started writing life narratives more and more. And because it was gaining popularity day by day, academic research into this subject also was increased. Then in 1975, one psychologist, Ira Pragya, noted through his research that whatever the positive effects of autobiographical writing are, he says that it enhances it not only enhances personal growth and learning, but also it enhances one person's lives toward wholeness. It makes a person wholesome, it makes a person complete at its own tempo, at its own speed. So in a way, it is good for personal growth and intellectuality the person has, plus it makes the person complete person. At a global platform, there are few female writers who are who doesn't require any kind of acknowledgement. They are big names like Annie Frank or Maya Angelou, Jeanette Walls. Marjane Satrapi and Helen Keller. These are big writers, and they have written their autobiographies also. And these autobiographies one should read in one's life. Writings were evolving, and writings are still evolving, because now this is the era of digital humanities, and people are going online every time, and we are living in the age of internet, and we are going for graphics, visual, verbal, and virtual text. So it has not spared writing conventional autobiography and biography text corridor also. It has changed the mode of writing, the mode of autobiographical writing and biographical writing also. People have started using more better visual effects also in their writings. They have included more pictures, and they have changed the style of their text nowadays, and they have made these autobiographical writings and life narratives more interesting for people. Henke and Sarah, Sujata and Sarah, in their studies related to shattered subjects, they say that women life writings, whatever trauma women face in their life, so they those fragmented traumas, they are fragmented by the trauma, and those traumatic fragments of their life, they are reintegrated via these life writings, via the connection and interaction between the narrator and participant. They get an opportunity to connect those all fragmented parts of their life. Life narratives of Indian women, if we talk about life narratives of Indian women, are tools of self-representation. They try to represent themselves. These are the weapons or tools in their hands to talk about their personal histories. They use them to represent their realities and their feminist concerns. They defy all the set norms of language and aesthetics in the patriarchal society, and they talk about what they really feel. They have molded them to speak of lives that have broken out of the ordinary to create their own identity in the society. And mostly these life narratives are translated from their original languages, and it highlights the importance of translations also. And this has brought marginalized voices in literature to readers. So that is also one of the good thing, that these are translated from different other regional languages to English, and then they have got name and fame. These are few images which don't need any kind of they are not in identity crisis. They all are big names. They all are recognized faces, and they are varied in their persona. Some of them are used to be ordinary women. Now we cannot say them ordinary, but they used to be ordinary women, and they from ordinary to exceptional, every kind of women is there. They showcase commonality to royalty. It is like MK Vinodini, from princess to Dalit, everybody is there, and they all dare to tell their stories, and they exhibited unity in diversity while talking about their life stories. And no doubt, there's no confusion in that they all have succeeded in inspiring via their writings, their life writings, and they have expressed their life stories in their own unique styles. Here I'll just talk about Amrita Pritam, that when Amrita Pritam thought about writing, she thought about writing about her life, and then while thinking about her writing about her life story, she expressed this idea to Khushwant Singh, that I want to write about my life. Khushwant Singh laughed at her and said that what is big there in your life to write about? There's nothing. If you will start writing, you will just write it on a stamp. she took it very much on her heart, and then finally she decided that she will write her autobiography. And when she wrote her life story, she gave that book the name Rasidi Ticket, which is a very famous book, and everybody might have read and gone through, or many scholars might have written papers, research papers also here. So we can say that writing about your life needs lots of courage, and it depends that how reader perceives the truth of your life. So here I have taken the lines from Prabha Ketan's autobiography, A Life Apart. Prabha Ketan says that truth lies in the eyes of the beholder. It reminds us the saying that beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. So here she is saying that the truth lies in the eyes of the beholder on one hand, and on the other hand, the reader's perception of the truth is might be it is the same, or it can be different also. It depends. The strength of an honest bit of writing. If your writing is authentic, it has its own pull, and this is probably why an honest autobiography has a longer shelf life than a work of fiction. She says that if your autobiography is a real autobiography or truthful autobiography, it may have a longer shelf life than a work of fiction. Later she says that it depends that how your work becomes a bond between the reader and the writer, and it depends on generations to generations also. That like if I give my example, how my gurujis used to interpret text, how I interpret the text, or might be how my coming generation will interpret the text, that may vary, that may differ, but the power of its narrative can never be dim. So this was what Ketan said in her autobiography. So now at first I would like to take Ketan only, Prabha Ketan only, as one Indian autobiographer. Prabha Ketan was the founding president of Prabha Ketan Foundation, and she was a woman of extraordinary spirit and determination. She was born into a wealthy and well-known traditional Marwari business family of Calcutta. She was an entrepreneur and astute businesswoman who established a money spinning leather business on her own, creating her own identity. She was a true inspiration for all Indian women who made her own path and forged her own destiny, defying all the patriarchal codes prevailing in the society. She was an efficacious writer also of Hindi literature, who wrote novels such as Pitra Satta, Pili Andhi, Apne Apne Chehre. So her autobiography was first written in Hindi with name Anya Se Ananya. Anya Se Ananya means other to matchless. Anya means other, and Ananya means matchless personality. So she became from one other woman to a matchless woman, a woman who had created her own identity. And this autobiography of hers was translated by Ira Pandey, and in 2013. She writes in her book that writing one's life is like a striptease act. You are exposed to hundreds of eyes. Not easy to write about your life story. It is not easy to expose your own feelings and your life, or to put it into a platter for everybody, or all the readers. This may sound odd, but it is also true that most of us take an exhibitionist pleasure in doing so. She's saying that this is not just about the reader, that reader takes pleasure out of it. The writer also takes pleasure out of it while writing a story about himself or herself. Prabha Ketan Prabha Ketan belonged to a Marwari family, and because she belonged to Marwari family, that Marwari family in Calcutta had a business, and the business was flourishing well. But her father died at very early age, when she was quite young. So that time her father died, and her mother Even she never promoted girls education, but after that she started thinking that no, girls education is very important, and she tried to give her good education also. That's why Prabha Ketan is a doctorate, she is a PhD, and she completed her proper all education in that time in 1960s and 70s. She says, these lines are motivational for all women. I must devote some time to my business interests as well, because she had fallen in love with one person, one man who was already married and having 5 kids, and at times she was feeling very lonely with staying with that man. So she says that this is the advice for every woman, that women should devote their time to their business interest or their academic interest or their whatever they want to do in their life. They should go for that, whatever their dreams are. Love and its problems take up so much of our time that if women were to devote as much energy and dedication to their own work, what could they not achieve? So they could achieve everything if they had given time and energy to whatever they really wanted to do. But they give more time to family, they give more time to their kids, they give more time to elderly people in their houses, and cleaning, dusting of house, but not to whatever their personal interests are. So while getting education, she saw in her surrounding that nobody was happy. No woman was happy. Even it's about her mother or her sister-in-laws or her aunts. Everybody was wallowed in ocean of tears. So she decided, no, that I will not go for this traditional marriage kind of thing. I will go for higher studies. And then she went for higher studies, and she did her higher studies. And then she went to New York for doing a course in beauty therapy. And there, while she was staying in New York, so that time she was staying with one lady, Eileen. And Eileen used to call her rustic and foolish. And that time she took an oath, and she said that she thought that I will show these people that what I am capable of, because she was not ready to assimilate in that American culture. She was a proud Indian. She said that I will learn how to speak like them. I will learn whatever is better there, but I will go back to my Calcutta, my own land, and there I will remain an Indian. And I will prefer rotis instead of hamburgers. And if rotis were not be available for me, I will better have breads and boiled potatoes. But I will not compromise. I will not try to assimilate in their culture. I will safeguard and preserve my own culture, my Indian culture. So she was a proud Indian in a way. And she was a very assertive lady. Further, Marel also, there was another lady who had given her a job, Marel. So she says to her, she gave her some cast of clothes of one fashionista, Clara Brown, and then she became very furious. She got angry that why are these people thinking that we are beggars? Why do you people think what we are? Our currency may have been devalued and be worth nothing to you Americans, but do you think we Indians have no self-respect? So she says that she was a lady of self-respect. She was a lady who can stay without a single penny, but she will not ask anybody else for money. So she tried to safeguard her self-respect. She came back from there and she tried to establish her own business. She went for one health club named Vigour in 1970s, and that health club in Bombay was a very famous one that time, and she earned lots of money out of that. And then she thought that she will be going into the business of leather. But there also the patriarchal mindset of people who with whom she was surrounded with, like her brothers and brother-in-laws and Dr. Sharaf, they all said, no, don't go for leather business. This is not meant for Marwari women. But she said, business runs by its own rule. Personal preferences, religious taboos have their place in individual lives, not in the world of trade. So she had her own ideas that how to develop a business, and she worked very hard. She went from place to place, and she collected all the raw material, and finally she established her own business, and she became very successful also in her life. After getting success in her life, even though due to male dominated society's mindset, people were not ready to accept her as a successful businesswoman. So she says here that these lines shows that how she used to feel lonely, and how she used to get strength from inside to be a more better person in her life and to be more successful. She says that these people who are throwing on me mean and nasty barbs, so these, because of that, because they are not ready to accept me as a successful businesswoman. She says that women's contribution is never generously acknowledged in the society. She was constantly made aware of her surroundings and kept insecure and nervous. But at the same time, she understood the sexual politics behind that all. And that made, when she understood this all, it made her more stronger day by day. And in the last days of Dr. Sharaf, she stood like a pillar with him. And even she supported Dr. Sharaf's family also, financially also, and physically also. Prabha Ketan was a poet, novelist, feminist, and she was a businesswoman who fought for individualism above all her feminine restrictions. She tried to transcend the horizons, depicting a revolutionary spirit in the society. She stood at crossroads, caught between tradition and modernity, because one side she was going and meeting foreign clients in the five-star hotels, and another side she was draping herself in a sari. And so this was that she was safeguarding her traditions also, and she was wholeheartedly implementing and accepting the modernity also in her thoughts. She flouted her community codes and stated against injustices and hypocrisies prevalent in the male dominated society. As we can say that she was the second woman in one man's life, and whom she did not even get married, but she starts her story with illustration from Indian mythology. She quotes Sati there, that Sati, who is the partner of Shiva, and because they both are embodiment of love. So she says that how Sati stayed with one man in her whole life. So I also stayed with one man in my whole life. So she was very dedicated and committed lady also. So these are some characteristics which inspire everybody, that how you can go for your dreams, you can fulfill your dreams, and you can create your own identity in the society. So the story I read in lockdown period only, and this I really admired a lot, and I suggest everybody to read if you have time. Next, I have chosen here Sumit Mahajan. Sumit Mahajan is a runner and a businesswoman, also a married lady who is a Limca book record holder for running 1500 kilometers from Delhi to Mumbai. In 30 days, she finished this task of running and reaching from Delhi to Mumbai, covering 1500 kilometers. She wrote about her struggle in the book Miles to Run Before I Sleep. Miles to Run Before I Sleep. This book's title reminds us the lines of Robert Frost. Miles to go before I sleep. So these are the lines. The woods are dark, lovely, and deep, but I have promises to keep. So these lines are this title might have been taken from Robert Frost's poem, which is a very good, inspiring poem. And the subtitle here, How an Ordinary Woman Ran an Extraordinary Distance. This itself is iconic and symbolic, talking about how a person creates her or his identity. She says, her story starts like she was asthmatic from her childhood, and her father was a sporty man. He wanted her to learn tennis, but the coach with whom they tried to approach to make her learn tennis, that person refused to teach her because she had asthmatic attacks, frequent asthmatic attacks in her childhood, and her table used to be full of medicine. So the person refused that, no, I will not teach her. So that time her father became a torch bearer for her, and he stood with her like rock stone, and he said to her that mat kar tu rehm itna ki dusra ise teri kamjori samjhe, mat kar tu pyar itna ki koi tere dil ko khilona samajh khel jaye, bas kar tu karam apna ki mehnat ka phal tera adhikar ban jaye. So these lines from her story, which were spoken by her father to her, so these have become very inspirational lines for everybody in the society. And these quotes everybody might have read on internet also. In her childhood, she had to suffer a lot because when she used to go in school, so people, the classmates of her, they used to scold her, they used to make fun of her, saying that you are coughing like a dadima, and you are a dadima, and you behave like a dadima. So they used to call her dadima, and whenever she used to go to meet her relatives, they used to say that this is all you are suffering because of your bad karma. They had some of their own misconceptions and notions and blind faiths regarding coughing and having asthmatic attacks. But her family that stood with her, her mother, her sister, and her father, they all stood with her and molded her personality a lot. How much time do I have more, sir?
15 to 20 minutes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, sir. So there's one more quote which I have taken here while exploring life narratives of Indian women, from Miles to Run Before I Sleep. Live your dreams. She says that live your dreams, follow your heart, do not give up. No matter how many times you fail, life is all about getting up and not going to sleep till the time your dreams are achieved. There is no tomorrow. Today is all what matters. Take a leap of faith and follow your dreams, the dreams which you had forgotten as societal norms bogged you down. Go and create your own. So these lines are very inspirational lines to follow and fulfill your dreams. She belonged to one historical place, historically significant town of Amritsar, and then when after in the age of 20, at the age of 20, she got married. And when she was supposed to have children, she filled the form of Greenathan, the race of 1500 kilometers from Delhi to Mumbai. Her husband, the second patriarch in her life, like first one was her father, and the second one was her husband. Her husband also, Prabhakaran, also supported her a lot. When she asked him that, because he financially also supported for this race. So when she asked that, what do you want? How can I return your money or the fees you have paid for me? So the person says, her husband says to her that, no, I just need 1500 kilometers from you. So it means that he kept his ego and all insecurities aside, and he stood by her in all her journey from Delhi to Mumbai. And when she was running in shorts from Delhi to Mumbai on highways, it might have inspired lots of ladies or females, whomsoever she might have met in between the journey when she went there. She says in her story in the book, most give up early and feel contented with material fulfillment. She says that most of us just go behind physical facilities and material fulfillment. and end up cursing destiny or playing the blame game that we did not get a chance, or our luck was very bad, and we were unlucky, like that. But few continue to strive and try and defying fate and accomplishing the feat. She says that triumph comes to determine deeds only. If you're not determined to do your action, to perform your action, the triumph will not come to you. The victory will not be yours. So these are very good lines which can inspire young generation. Sumit Mahajan says again, there are many inspirational quotes from her story which can be taken into consideration by youth of our society to fulfill their dreams. Long distance running is not just about training and training stamina or talent. It has more to do with controlling your mind and building your perseverance. She says that it is not just about having physical stamina or talent. It is more about how you control your mind, how you do hard work. Consistency is really very important while you are chasing your dreams to fulfill them. Further, she says that to become a fighter, you need to learn an important lesson: how to channel both encouragement and discouragement towards enhancing your performance. Because it is not like that every time people will say that you are doing good. There are people who will encourage also, there are people who will discourage you also. So, and sometimes this encouragement and discouragement is inside thing also. So it depends that how you enhance your performance and how you make a balance between these two. Then I would like to take Hansa Vadkar. Hansa Vadkar was a Marathi and Hindi film stage and actress of Indian cinema. She was one of Maharashtra's best known stage and screen personalities. She was born on January 24, 1923 in Bombay as Ratan Balchandra Salgaonkar, and she had worked in bilingual film Vijayachi Lagne at the age of 13, and she had got name and fame at very early age in her life. She worked with very reputed film companies like Bombay Talkies, Prabha Film Company, and National Studio. She has been referred as one of the most sought after and bohemian actresses of her time also, and her story Sangate Eka was translated from Marathi to English. You Ask, I Tell, and it was published by Juban Publication House. She had worked in very good films also. Her film Sangate Eka was again, that was she had acted in that film in Marathi, but later on Smita Patil had acted in that movie named Bhumika, and she had played the role of Hansa in that movie, and that movie was directed by Shyam Benegal. And she gave her autobiography also the same name, Sangate Ekas. Actually, those were interviews given to one Marathi journalist, Arun Sadhu, and those all interviews later on she got published in the book form, Sangate Eka, and that later on it was translated into English, You Ask, I Tell. Here, role of memory is very important when we talk about artist memoir or artist autobiographies or biographies, because in life narratives memory plays the role of an agent to bring the personal account to the public knowledge. So whatever your personal things are, you try to share with your public, and everything becomes public when you share the things. And Antonina defines here that autobiographical memory is the recollection of one's own prior experiences, whatever experiences you had, and it is a reconstructive act. You are constructing your persona again in the form of writing that is always culturally situated, plus it is context sensitive, that in which background it is coined or created or crafted, it is susceptible to narrative configuration. Memory becomes a tool not only to know a performance performer's life individually, but it an extensive space to show the changes in power equation within the society also. And women performer of late 19th and early 20th century were invisible during the time, and so they so this was one of the very good work which Hansa Vadkar had done by assembling all her interviews in the book form. She was an artist who started working at the age of 10. In her family, her mother, her grandmother, everybody was an artist, and she had got this thing that she wanted to study. She wanted to get married, but her parents wanted her to act. And she says that girls should know singing, playing instruments, dancing, swimming, and all other arts to be independent. She knew the importance of being independent, but still she wanted to get education at first, but and that she could not get because her father forced her to start acting at the very early age. Then at the age of 13, she met one of the boy in her neighborhood, and she fell in love with him, and at the age of 15 she became pregnant with him. And then when 3 months pregnancy, she married that man, even though her parents were not in favor of that marriage, but still she wanted to take revenge. She was very stubborn lady, she was very assertive. She wanted to take revenge from them. They did not let her to study, and they forced her to go for acting career. Later on, she says that I achieved fame, I may be neglected today. When she was falling sick, because after her marriage, her husband also went for opening one Bhandarkar company, and there also she had to acted in many films. But and she wanted to have kids, but her husband went for abortions, and then she was addicted to alcohol later on. And she even divorced that man also in her life. And when she entered in this acting career, she had to go for another name also, Hansa Vadkar, because her real name was something else, and her this name was something else. So we can say that there was an emergence of new women. And she says that I may be, when she was sick, she says that I may be neglected today, but the memories of my glorious past are engraved in the minds, because I have framed this book. I have written these all things in the book. And Jasbir Jain, Professor Jasbir Jain says that who had translated her story from Marathi language to English language with name You Ask, I Tell, a fragmentary, expressive, episodic, and gender narrative of performing artist the story is. So these were the lines given by Jasbir Jain. Indian New Women, this term was emerged during the late 19th century as a subsequence of British colonialist influences, which included educational and social religious reforms. Whereas in other countries, in Western countries, many feminists were coming up. So here in our country also, after colonization period, many new feminist persons were coming up, and many new women, the term new woman was coining and gaining fame here also in our country, defying institutional patriarchal ideologies. And those were defying or discarding the patriarchal ideologies, and they were that had enforced her domesticity and subjectivity. Like she also, after her divorce, she did not take the custody of her girl. She gave the custody of that girl to her to the man. So that was also one kind of new woman personality and new woman image, that she did not go for having the custody of her girl, and she gave it to the man. The new woman sought greater equality between men and women. So this was given by Krupabai in introduction of Saguna, the first autobiographical novel by an Indian woman, which was edited by Chandni Lokuje. articulation of one's identity and self through life narrative. It is how you articulate, how you create a craft, how you utter one's identity and self. It is considered to be the milestone in understanding the socio-psychic development. This is what your sociological development, living in the society, plus your psychic development, your mental development is also considered there, and changes happening to the coveted, self-centered and domesticated Indian woman. It is an act of empowerment. I have already talked about that this is a tool to represent your identity in the society. It proves that inferiority of women in the society as not a biological factor but a created one. So Sumit Mahajan's story is one example and one illustration that talks about that inferiority of women has been not there biologically, but it is a created one in our society. There are many more stories like Sania Nehwal's story or Mary Com's story. There are other advantages also of reading life stories. It can facilitate the expression of feeling, how you express your feelings in front of other, how you shift in personal thinking, how you develop a feeling of self control and confidence inside you, and how you overcome the feeling of low self esteem. And at the same time, if you have some deep issues to deal with, so this is one new and different and unusual way to deal with your problems, your mental or psycho problems. Life writing also enables, because when you read other people, when you come to know that we are not the only one who are struggling and who are facing problems in our lives, others are also facing problems in their lives also. So you might feel triggered to do something better in your life. So life writing also enables family information as well as emotions and feelings about history to be remembered. For example, life writing can give you the opportunity to pass down your family traditions, the recipes, what you want to give to your next generation. So these are the things which you talk about in life narratives and which are passed on to next generation also. And it is therapeutic in in the situation of serious diseases also, like if you have dementia or Alzheimer. So in case of that, if you go for reading books, or if you go for reading life narratives, or if you go for writing life narratives, it increases your intellectual activity and it stimulates your brain. And this was this was mentioned in the article Laser Activities and the Risk of Dementia in the Elderly. I would like to suggest some life narratives of Indian women. Here, some are very big name and some are new. The young ones, like the Kargil girl, the movie was also named by this book, named after this book, Breaking Out by Padma Desai. And Temsula O also wrote, Durga Kote, the actress also wrote I Durga Kote, and Sania Nehwal, Mary Com, A Revati, Pratima Bedi, Ismat Chute. These are all different kind of personas, and they all have written about their lives. They all have expressed with boldness and audacity. And it is worth reading all of them. So I can say here that I would like to end my presentation here with the lines of Maya Angelou. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak that is wondrously clear, I rise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave, I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I rise, I rise, I rise. So this is what reading is a kind of thing which is a motivational thing, or which infuses inside you strength and vigor, and it motivates you to do something good in your life, for yourself also and for your society also. Thanks for listening me. Sorry.
Thank you very much, ma'am. A very wonderful lecture it was. Now, I would like to move forward with the question answer session. I would like to request participants if, am I audible, sir?
Yes,
Hope am I
yes,
audible?
yes.
Yeah. So I request participants to either drop their questions if they have any queries, or they may directly question the speaker by unmuting themselves from their end.
If you permit, I have a thing to ask.
Yeah. Please go ahead,
Yeah.
sir.
See, the thing is that while the feminism is going on, what I feel somewhere is that when we are judging the Oriental feminist or feminism through the spectacles of Occidental feminism, we are committing some type of mistake. If I am not right, if I am wrong, please justify me.
So, pardon, will you repeat it again?
Madam, see, Indian feminism is different, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
when we are trying to elaborate, trying to explain the concept of feminism in accordance with the Indian or the Occidental, Oriental things there, with reference to the Occidental ideas, like feminist literature which happened in Europe, somewhere we are committing some mistake, I think, because our concepts of feminism are different. That's what I feel. So please, can you enlighten me more on this one?
So, our concept is different, but still, yeah, I agree that women in foreign countries, they have more freedom. In our country, women are having less freedom. But still, women are women everywhere, and I feel that they all are in same boat. Like when I was reading Prabha Ketan, so there I recall now that those feelings of hers which she had expressed, that because she was also the second woman in one man's life, and there when she went to New York, so there also one the lady with under whom she was working, so her husband was also having an affair with another lady, and what those two ladies were going through, she was feeling connected herself with them. And then she was saying that what is happening here in Western culture, the same kind of sufferings we are going through in our Indian culture also. So somehow deep down everybody is same, but still we have made categories like if we talk about Dalit women, they suffer thrice. If we talk about higher caste women, they suffer less. We say it, we have these kind of notions, but ultimately the thing is that everybody suffers, everybody struggles. The style may vary, but or might be there is somehow on one side 19% or somehow another side 20%, but everybody is suffering.
Thank you, ma'am. Hope the question is answered. If anyone else is having any queries or questions, or if any comment you have, you may uh, directly unmute yourself at your end and make it.
But yeah, I would like to add something else, something more here. Western countries, women are more advanced, and they have more better opportunities rather than us. But still, that is what we are having one seminar or conference here and satsang here, so that because all educated people are here, so we should promote equality in our society, and we should go for such kind of things wherever we are seeing any kind of discrimination.
You are not audible properly, ma'am. I think. Hello.
And we should make them understand that this is not the practice we should go for now in this. Oh, yeah, might be so. Am I audible now?
Yes,
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 ma'am.
it's audible
Yes.
now.
Okay, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am. It was very lucid deliberation and praiseworthy, obviously. And the chat box is full with comments and the praises by many scholars and teachers, professors. Especially, I would like to read one uh, comment by Dr. Professor G. Ghanesam sir, the founder of iSPELL. The text taken up today by Dr. Salini enable all of us to make our scholars able to take up these Indian women for their research, which relates to the community and society we live in. I rise, I rise, I rise.
Yeah,
Thank you, sir,
sure.
for
I
this.
would like to. I would like to add here that many of these um, texts which I have suggested for reading, like if we talk about Amrita Pritam and Ismat Chugti and some more names, apart them, many of them are not explored till now by researchers. So I would like to request everybody that say to your researchers and scholars to explore them more and do analysis and research in that area. Promote
Okay,
them.
thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Before I move forward to the chairperson of today's session, let me read another comment from the coordinator of this session, Professor Prashant Chakraborty sir, that he writes that a very good presentation with enough information, we have come to know about some women who are dedicated to their ambition to establish themselves in their lives. They have become the inspiration for the new generation of India. Yeah. So with this, I would like to move forward or with the chairperson of today's session. Let me take the opportunity to.
Nurul,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please.
yeah, sorry to disturb you in between. And there is a
No
piece of
problem.
information. There is a foundation called Prabha Ketan Foundation in Kolkata, which organizes a program called Kalam. And in that program of Kalam, they invite all the literary people, those who are writing either in English or in Hindi, and maybe once in a month, they do organize a program in collaboration with the Hotel Marriott. So Hotel Marriott with the Prabha Ketan Foundation, they do organize this kind of a literary event. So when Dr. Shalini was talking about Prabha Ketan, I do remember the Prabha Ketan Foundation because I am also associated with Kalam. So in that way, really, Prabha Ketan Foundation is doing wonders. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for the information, sir. Let me take the opportunity to invite our chairperson of today's session, a very well-known and blissful face to us, Dr. Jyoti Patil ma'am. She is a creative writer and having 30 years of teaching and administrative experience serving as principal at Renuka College, Besa, Nagpur. She has worked as a trainer of Infosys faculty for a global language enhancement program as NAC and also as a NAC assessor, resource person for academic staff colleges of RTM Nagpur University and SGB Amravati University. She has been an associate editor and reviewer of International Journal of Multidisciplinary Approach Studies, reviewer of several international journals, executive member of Association of Indian College Principals, Center for Library Interaction and Creativity, and Shakespearean Center of Central India keynote speaker. She also is the plenary session expert and chairperson at various national and international conferences. To her credit, she has 10 books authored by herself, and she also has contributed 25 book chapters, research papers, published and presented about 105, and many more achievements are there that includes as a recipient of Adarsh Shikshak Puraskar 2009, Indrani Jagjivaranam Rashtriya Samman Padak 2010, state level Shikshak Ratna Puruskar 2011, Maniratna Shikshak Gaurav Award 2011, World Environment Educational Award 2012, and Devi Ahilya Samiti National Award 2015. And she also has published about 45 poems and recited some of them at poetic meets, also contributed in magazines such as Kuku, Langlit, Vatuso, and Cenacle, etc. And the most important thing, I think, as a human being, she is the organ donor, organizes and participates in blood donation camps, free medical checkups, and awareness programs on social and environmental issues. There are many more things, but without much ado, I would like to hand over the stage and platform to comment on the session or the observation. See, so over to you, ma'am. Please enlighten us with your observations on the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Nurul. You elaborated everything. Good evening to everyone present virtually for iSPELL 42nd Triple S. Respected keynote speaker, Dr. Shalini Yadav, General Secretary iSPELL, Dr. G.A. Ghansham, whose mere presence radiates and rejuvenates any forum. The event coordinator of this month and Vice President iSPELL, Dr. Prasanta Chakrabarti, who has been doing a wonderful job of bringing galaxy of stalwarts from different fields to interact with enthusiastic iSPELlians, all the office bearers and all the member participants present digitally over here. July is a month of spring sprouts of aqua green, lush green foliage with multiple variety of flora and fauna all around the land. Besides bringing solace from scorching heat with sporadic showers, it also brings extreme humidity and sullenness if westerly winds don't blow softly and strongly. Ghansham sir has rightly quoted on YouTube that July month started with feminism in a great way. True. I'll here quote Germany Kent, who says, live life in such a way that you will be remembered for your kindness, compassion, fairness, character, benevolence, and a force for good, who had much respect for life in general. So this pandemic has actually wrought havoc on the entire world. Pessimism, suffering, unemployment, hunger, and poverty resound in all corners. To survive in a physical, mental, and financial battle, okay, it's very important, and every family and individual has an anecdote to narrate that speaks volumes about their combat strategy, losses, and victories. I'm really extremely happy that Dr. Shalini Yadav has chosen such a burning topic which is close to our hearts, based on real life experiences, exploring life narratives of Indian women as a vaccine of vigor and motivation and vitality too, with examples of women trying to make their way through an unprecedented and harrowing time. It comes as no surprise that Merriam-Webster declared pandemic the word of the year. The biggest stories all stem from one story: COVID-19 touched everyone on the planet. In some way or the other, a devastating shared fate. But here is another word that defined this difficult year: resilience. As 2020 is over and 2021 is midway, we are highlighting not only ways of pandemic affected women and girls, but also how women meet challenge with determination, fear with courage, and despair with grace. Yes, the time has been much about loss and lack and less. We have seen years of hard-won progress erased, but there was also innovation and solidarity and grit. We look forward with renewed sense of focus, hope, and ambition. A UN report from September 2020 on economic toll of COVID-19 on women notes that the impact of crisis are never gender neutral. The report delves into the many ways women have been disproportionately affected financially by the ongoing pandemic. For instance, industries that predominantly employ women have been worst affected. Women's paid labor and women run businesses are hardest hit, and the gender poverty gap is projected to widen. The impacts of the crisis, however, go far beyond the economics. News stories and surveys have looked at how women are bearing the brunt of childcare, household chores, while they work full time remotely. Isolation and confinement have meant that cases of violence against women are on the rise. While coronavirus pandemic and resultant lockdowns have been especially hard on women, there are also many stories of resilience, courage, and hope that have emerged in these times. On International Women's Day 2021, it was resolved to declare it a pandemic year for women. To tell about women with varying experiences on the pandemic who rose to the challenges of being mothers, artists, healthcare workers, community outreach professionals, entrepreneurs, literateurs, students, amateur artists, and above all, individuals trying to make their way through an unprecedented time. The pandemic has reached every corner of our life, but it hits each of us differently. People who do not have a safe home, who suffer from poverty and exploitative working conditions, or affected by inequalities and violence inherent in sexism or by racism, as well as those who are chronically ill, are particularly affected. Above all, older women and single mothers who are overrepresented among the poor and those at risk of poverty anyway are most severely affected by the current state of emergency. Women worldwide earn 23% less than men, who in turn have 50% more assets. This inequality is being exacerbated by the crisis. Working from home, stocking up on supplies, or washing your hands regularly, this is simple not possible for many people. Women workers who are often already paid less than men for the same work often earn too little, live from hand to mouth, and in many cases have no access to clean water are particularly affected. Meanwhile, essential professions are mostly performed by women worldwide. Most, More than 70% of healthcare workers are women. It is also women who carry out more than 70% of unpaid work, performing three times as much unpaid work as men. This blatant injustice is intensified by school closures, increased illnesses, which lead to a growing burden to carers. This must change now. Instead of continuing to systematically devalue unpaid and underpaid care work, it must be given the status it deserves and recognized globally for its role in social cohesion. We are experiencing this unprecedented days of telecommuting and home working, and for many concurrent childcare, elder care, and homeschooling. Feminism as a mode of organizing and praxis is being challenged as women's lives are considered unproblematic, seem seen as sponges ready to absorb the economic and social impacts of workplace disruptions. For some of us, it feels like we are heading back in time as individual lives become overlooked by the institutions that they are part of. So no longer gendered professions. We are called on as abstract workers that deliver at all cost through this crisis, being forced to invite people into our home spaces, without consent or consideration. We wish to engage with our community and readership to provide a forum for scholarly engagement, personal resistance, and self care. As feminists, living and possibly struggling with the demands placed on us, we wish to foster dialogue that involve discussions of how to live a feminist life during COVID-19 while attending to various ways intersectional, post-colonial, transnational, queer, and other frameworks can help us understand and relate to the struggles, failures, and resilience experienced. Dr. Shalini's inspirational stories of women who fought the odds and emerged winners really touched our hearts to the core and motivated us to be resilient in the face of all odds. Right from the life narratives of autobiography of Saint Augustine and Marjorie Camp in 15th century, she went through to define life narrative and highlighted the difference between autobiography and life narratives. And she also highlighted the difference uh, between all these narratives and different areas, genres of literature, you can say, memoirs, still memoirs. She connects it with ecology as a whole to touch upon the autobiography of Ira Progoff in 1975 and more famous women writers of today. And she touched upon these uh, triple V or V3, visual, verbal, and virtual texts, which is now becoming relevant these days, becoming overpowering the written text. Then she narrated real life stories from Prabha Ketan, Anya se Ananya tak, a life apart. She's an assertive, proud Indian with lot of self-respect. Next story she touched upon was of Sumedha Mahajan, who has all the story, and I can personally relate. Being an asthmatic, I can relate to her story. Miles to run before I sleep. Okay, and live your dream and follow your heart. Don't give up. These beautiful messages, which can definitely will kindle, inspire us to go, to run, to go, to continue our journey in the faces of these odds. Then Hansa Vadkar, who acted in films in 30s, and she has written You Ask, I Tell, or Sankte Aika. The role of memory plays an important part, and all its benefits, all life narratives benefits she talked about, she enumerated. She she also talked about new women, and in times of this new normal, please, I will avail this opportunity to talk about 2-3 examples of real life. That is one, India's first female superhero, Priya, who fights COVID-19. It's a documentary filmmaker and technologist, Ram Devnani, is superhero Priya Shakti. She can be found fighting yet another real world problem, this time in COVID-19 with a mask. Across a series of short animated films and comic books, the first female superhero from India never gives up against any supernatural power or shies away from fighting any unworldly problems. So she has been introduced first in 2012. Priya is an abuse survivor who tackled issues like sex trafficking and rape and challenges of patriarchal norms. So she was one who's still fighting, going strong way. The next in my list is a doctor warrior. Okay, being a doctor during the pandemic is actually undoubtedly brought out many heroes from this medical fraternity. And one lady, Nimrat Kaur from Patna, she is a regional deputy project coordinator in Asia for Doctors Without Borders. Shares her account of working 12 long hour shift, which means 12 hours staying in a PPE kit. Can you imagine? Keeping herself mentally steady, fervently hoping for vaccines and cure and the new normal as understood by frontline workers. And the third story I'll talk about, that was the kindness in the times of coronavirus, which highlighted some painful inequalities this year and stories of kindness like that of Ruchira Gupta, who is helping the families of sex workers and her organization, Apne Aap, Women Worldwide, that helps victims of self-trafficking and children in many parts of India. That is really something, really hats off to her. That is starting with cooked meals, that her volunteers started distributing rations and so many things, other things. And this chain maker spoke on how COVID-19 has put their occupation as sex workers on the lifeline and lack of aid from the government. So these first-hand accounts do not look away from the cost of the crisis, but they look beyond to the future, to what is possible and what still remains to be and must be done. Women are always greater than the sum of their challenges. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. And it is the courage to continue and resilience to reboot and regrow that counts and matters the most. I repeat, success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue and the resilience to reboot and regrow that counts and matters the most. And God has really blessed women to go forward with a very strong hand, though they look so fragile. And my dear friend, Madam has done a wonderful job, but someone has asked about the difference of feminism, Western feminism and Indian feminism. Let me tell him that the history of feminism in India can be divided into three phases, as Prasanna sir has already talked about the three phases of feminism in general. Actually, it's in mid-19th century, the things were different. Okay, but the reformists were there. They were all male members. Indian feminism really actually was born by male people, those who really are concerned with the plight of women. Okay, they spoke in favor of women's rights by making reforms in education like Dayanand Saraswati, Vivekanand, even our Rabindranath Tagore. Okay, so these were the some names. And from 1915 to Indian independence, Gandhiji was there with women's movement. Even Baba Sahib Ambedkar assembled perhaps 20 lakh women were gathered in Nagpur itself. So I belong to Nagpur, so I'm proud that the first biggest women congregation was held here in Nagpur. And with some examples now in modern time, Madam has already taken many examples of modern feminism. Now it's only that Indian feminism is going shoulder to shoulder. It's not competing with men, but it is going together. That is a difference. Western feminism is something which they want freedom of all costs. We don't want freedom. We should go together. That's the difference. With that, I conclude. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Yes. Yes. And congratulations, Yadav madam. Yeah.
Thank you very much, ma'am. It is always wonderful to listen to you, worth listening to you actually. And with this, I would like to invite the Dr. Pramod Dhingle sir for certificates and Thanksgiving. Sir, please, over to you. Pramod sir? Yeah. I would like to request Professor J. Ghanasam sir to announce
No,
the
please
certificates.
please make a request to Dr. Prasanta sir.
Oh, Dr.
He will
Prasanta,
announce the certificates.
Yeah. Dr. Prasanta Chakraborty is the coordinator of the events of this month. Sir, please announce the certificates presented here by Pramod Dhingle sir. Over to you, sir, please. Hello.
Yeah, hello. Am I audible?
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please announce the certificates. Yeah, thank you.
Yes. Now, first of all, I like to give certificates to our honorable speaker, Madam Salini Jadhav, Dr. Salini Jadhav, and so Pramod sir, can you help me in this regard? Hello.
Yeah, certificates are presented in the screen, sir. Hope it is visible.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then the next certificates will be given to our chairperson, Madam Jyoti, Dr. Jyoti Batul.
Congratulations, ma'am. Congratulations. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
And
congratulations to Dr. Salani Yadav, ma'am, also.
yeah. So actually, both of them were very good speakers, and then we came to know a lot from both the speakers, the chairperson and also from the speaker. So I'm thanking both of them from the core of my heart. And so the last certificate will be presented to our MOC. That means,
Nurul Hoda, it's me.
No, Nurul Hoda.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, sir.
Sorry, sir. Okay.
Okay.
So congratulations, Nurul sir, Nurul Huda.
Yes, ma'am.
Always,
thank you very much. Yeah.
Always be there to act, and you are so active. So we are really pleased to see you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yes, and you conducted this wonderfully well.
Thank you. Thank you. Salini ma'am is saying something, but she is muted. So,
Madam, unmute yourself. Unmute yourself, Madam. Shalini, Madam, unmute yourself. Yeah.
Okay, I did now. Thank you, ma'am. You spoke very well. Whatever I could not touch related to that, you
The connection problem.
yeah, connection
Connectivity
problem.
problem.
Yeah.
So,
and all that.
So I would like to request Dr. Prashant Chakraborty sir to adjourn this session, sir, please.
With all whatever has been